My former roommate is insisting that I pay her share of the debt because I abandoned her after she made my life hell in our apartment. Now she's in trouble. I rented an apartment with my friend Jess from October 2023 to October 2024. We had been very excited to move in together and really enjoyed living together for the first few months. Over those first few months, I was introduced to a friend of Jess, Ash. Jess told us that she liked our friendship and encouraged us to date, stating that we would be a cute couple. In March 2024, I double-checked with Jess that it was okay, and I began going on dates with Ash. However, almost immediately, it became a problem for Jess. No matter how much Ash and I prioritized spending time with Jess one-on-one, giving her undivided attention, spending time as a group, and always making sure we planned the time Ash would be over at the apartment to suit Jess, it created a huge rift in our friendship. Jess is diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, so Ash and I went to great lengths to listen to Jess' therapist and follow their advice to make it as easy for Jess as possible. It didn't help. Jess became extremely depressed and unpredictable, and I had to interfere and monitor her often. Anytime Ash came over, Jess would have meltdowns and scream at us and slam the door or leave dramatically. She was even hallucinating and would yell at us in the middle of the night, accusing us of being too loud even if we were asleep or just watching TV. This left me feeling unsafe and uncomfortable in my apartment. In June, I started spending more and more time at my parents' or Ash's house, especially on days I didn't work. I still try to keep in touch with Jess and go see her often, and I never tried to shame her or blame her for any of this. I understand that her trauma and mental health are not her fault. I am also disabled, which Jess knew before we moved in together. I had a job that was very good for me and extremely consistent. However, in August, I had an incident related to my disability which left me in the hospital for 3 weeks. And afterward, my doctors told me I was no longer able to work at all. So I ended my employment and applied for state and federal disability income. I used my savings to pay rent in July-August, but I had no income until the disability cleared. I told Jess in July that I would not be coming back to the apartment except to move out my things, and that I would do my best to pay my rent in September-October. But if it ended up that I couldn't, I would accept responsibility for the debt when our lease ended. I also know enough about our local laws to know she couldn't be evicted before our lease ended even if I didn't pay because of the amount of time. I kept in touch and gave her updates about my health and the status of my disability income throughout this time to keep her the loop and ensure she had all the information I had. I told her in August I would not renew the lease, and in September, I intended to vacate the apartment 2 weeks before it was due. Jess decided not to vacate and instead tried to find a new roommate for a new lease in the same unit. However, Jess was unable to find a roommate and had to vacate anyway without having given proper notice. I could not pay for both those months. So when our lease ended, I went to sign a contract with the apartment, relieving Jess from the debt. But I found out the debt was much higher than what I owed. I should have owed $2,400. The office said the debt was closer to $3,600. The apartment printed a ledger of our payment history showing that Jess never paid her rent in October. Additionally, the apartment informed me that they would double our debt because we didn't give notice on time. They said their lawyers have all the paperwork now, and I can discuss it with the lawyers once they contact me. Until then, there's nothing else I can do. They even think the lawyers can undo the doubled fee because of my disability status, but I have to wait until the lawyers reach out to me to know for sure. So I asked Jess to meet me because I'm not willing to pay her unpaid rent, nor am I willing to pay the entirety of the doubled debt because she is the one who didn't turn in notice. I told her I would work to get the doubled fee canceled, but we needed to agree on the debt owed by each of us. And I told her they still doubled it. I would work with her so she doesn't get stuck with a huge bill, but that I shouldn't be responsible for the whole thing either. When we met, Jess told me that I abandoned her, wasn't taking responsibility for anything, and should pay the entire bill because it was my fault. I told her felt responsible for my debt only and that I gave her ample communication throughout these situations. Now she's telling me that I screwed her over and that I'm a bad person. I admit, I lost my temper and said things I regret, including that I didn't abandon her, that she drove me out of my home, and my disability made it easier to stay away. I do not think I should have said that. I know I lost control of myself at this moment. My parents and my partner are telling me that I should only pay my share of the debt and try to cancel the doubled fee. But if I can't cancel it, I shouldn't try to share that debt with her. They believe she needs to see that her actions have consequences, but I feel that sticking her with a multi-$1,000 bill will financially ruin her. If I only pay for the rent I owed, she'd be left paying $5,000 if they don't drop the doubling of the debt. Update. Last I posted, I was waiting for communication from the apartment's legal team to understand what could be done. Last week, I received direct communication from their property management company. They provided me with a ledger of the debt and added fees. I worked with my legal team, and we fought them to remove the double charges. They have, however, added several cleaning fees, carpet replacement fees, trash removal fees, etc. My parents and I had gone to the apartment the last day of our lease and cleaned it very thoroughly, so I requested photographs of the apartment upon their entry. Based on those photographs, it would appear that Jess had entered the unit after we left and damaged it severely. I went over everything with my lawyers and have informed the apartment of the total share I am willing to pay, including my unpaid rent, some administrative fees, and a few other minor things. It's roughly $2,600. They said they understand but cannot enforce who pays what. I said I understood that completely and would work within the bounds of the system. They helped me set up a payment plan with minimal income while I only received state disability benefits. I emailed Jess the ledger I received and broke down item by item what share I would pay. And what balance did that leave her at the end of it all? About $2,500. Unfortunately, if she refuses to pay, my lawyers advise me to pursue it in civil court, but I have more than enough documented history.